Tonight, the breaking news here at the Vatican, the smoke rising from the chimney at the Sistine Chapel. Also breaking for the second time in just days, another $70 million U.S. fighter jet falling into the sea. First tonight, the eyes of the world on the Sistine Chapel. The images late today. The first signal from inside the chapel. Tens of thousands packing into St. Peter's Square. The cardinals sworn to secrecy. The doors of the chapel closed. Tonight, how long will it take, what we know so far, and what played out inside the Sistine Chapel late today. Also tonight, a $70 million American fighter jet plunging into the Red Sea while trying to land on the USS Harry Truman aircraft carrier. The pilots pulled from the water. And just days ago, another fighter jet falling from that same carrier, sinking into the sea. Martha Rabbitt with new reporting tonight. The verdict late today in a case that sparked nationwide protests. 3 former police officers charged in the beating death of Tyree Nichols after he ran away from a traffic stop. What the jury decided. Tonight, Ford now saying it will raise prices on some vehicles, pointing to the president's tariffs and the growing costs involved. And the new warning from the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell tonight saying if President Trump's tariffs remain in effect, what could happen to the U.S. economy? The major change if you plan to fly, Real ID, is now in effect. Did you update your driver's license and how this is going so far? Tonight, the suspect charged with stalking after allegedly crashing through the gate of Jennifer Aniston's home. What those who know him have now revealed. In New York City tonight, the young actor from Boardwalk Empire and Dawson's Creek and the alarming new charges. The horrific alligator attack, a husband and wife canoeing, the alligator knocking the woman into the water. Authorities say the husband tried to fight off the alligator. The dangerous storms we're tracking tonight, up to 10 inches of rain from Louisiana to Florida expected, and the heavy rain moving into the northeast over the next 48 hours. And the image right here behind us today at the Vatican and what we suddenly heard right here in St. Peter's Square.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, reporting tonight from the Vatican.
Good evening tonight from the Vatican, where we witnessed the historic ritual begin today, the secret conclave to elect a new pope. And tonight, the first signal from the Sistine Chapel. Just before 9 p.m. local time, black smoke was seen coming from the chimney atop the Sistine Chapel, signaling no new pope. The first vote of the conclave and no cardinal securing the 2/3 majority needed to become pope. Some 3 hours earlier, we saw the 133 cardinal electors walk slowly to the Sistine Chapel, chanting the Litany of the Saints, asking the saints to pray for them in this moment as they choose the next leader of the 2,000-year-old church. And then one by one, they stood at the center of the chapel offering a solemn vow of secrecy with their hand on an open book of the Gospels. Then the final order delivered in that chapel before the doors were closed, the words extra omnes, Latin for everyone out. Everyone except the cardinals who will vote, told to leave the room for good. And tonight, when that black smoke appeared, tens of thousands in St. Peter's Square erupting in applause. Even though there was no new pope, they knew they had witnessed history, this first vote, this first step inside the Sistine Chapel. Tonight, the cardinals are now sequestered at their residence. No cell phones, no newspapers, no computers, no television. They'll vote again tomorrow in the morning and again in the afternoon, and they'll keep going day after day until one of them in that room becomes pope. The closing of the doors of the Sistine Chapel. Inside, the 133 cardinals who will decide the next leader of the Catholic Church. Closed off from the rest of the world until one of the men in that room is elected the next pope. The Swiss Guard outside the chapel. The day began with the Mass at St. Peter's Basilica, the cardinals giving up their cell phones, any contact with the outside world. The airwaves in the Vatican have been jammed to prevent communication. New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan posting this video before the day began.
Buongiorno a tutti. Cardinal Timothy Dolan here, and I'm about ready to go into the Domus Sancta Marta. So this could be the last time I talk to you in a couple of days. I don't know how long the conclave will be.
As Cardinal Dolan and the other electors prepare for the Sistine Chapel.
We leave here and go over to the Sistine Chapel every day for our prayers and for our voting, but this is where we reside. So folks, I won't be able to talk to you until you see the white smoke.
In the late afternoon here, the cardinals beginning a ritual that dates back centuries. The procession from the Pauline Chapel to the Sistine Chapel, all in their red robes, their choir dress, their most formal attire as they enter the Sistine Chapel. chanting the Litany of the Saints, asking the saints to pray for them in this moment. The cardinals are from more than 70 countries, the most diverse conclave in modern times, and the largest number of voting cardinals in the Church's 2,000-year history. The cardinals chanting Ora pro nobis, pray for us. The cardinals then entering the Sistine Chapel, walking up to the altar and bowing, then taking their seats at tables lining the chapel. They sit in the shadow of Michelangelo's Last Judgment, each cardinal assigned a specific seat. Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Secretary of State under Pope Francis, and one of several contenders to become the next pope, leading the cardinals in an oath of secrecy and vowing to not let their vote be swayed by external influences. Each cardinal then approaching the altar on their own, placing their hand on the Gospels, stating their name and saying, "I do so promise, pledge, and swear to uphold their sacred duty. So help me God." The weight of the moment on their faces. Among them, 10 cardinals from the United States. Cardinal Robert Prevost, born in Chicago. Cardinal Michael Harvey, born in Milwaukee. Cardinal Joseph Tobin, once a mechanic, now the Archbishop of Newark, New Jersey.
Timothy Cardinalis Dolan.
And then Cardinal Timothy Dolan, the Archbishop of New York. There was Cardinal Charles Wangbo, the first ever cardinal from Myanmar, named by Pope Francis. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle from the Philippines. Some have now called him the Asian Francis for his warmth and humanity. He is considered a contender here as well. Cardinal Peter Erdu of Hungary, considered more conservative, also a potential pope. Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, the Archbishop of Bologna, Italy, who rides his bicycle everywhere, considered a street priest, much like Francis. And Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa, the first Cardinal of Jerusalem named by Pope Francis. All of them are contenders. And after each one of them pledges secrecy in the Sistine Chapel, the famous order before the voting begins. Monsignor Diego Ravelli giving the order extra omnes.
Extra omnes.
Latin for everybody out. Those who are not electors leaving the chapel, and the doors are closed. This conclave will be like no other. 133 cardinals voting, all under the age of 80. The majority, 80% of them, appointed by Pope Francis. They come from every corner of the world, 71 different countries, the largest and most diverse conclave in recent times. The youngest cardinal, 45. The oldest will turn 80 next week. They will cast secret ballots up to 4 times a day, 2 votes in the morning, 2 votes in the afternoon, and a 2/3 majority is needed to elect a new pope. And late today here, one by one behind closed doors, each cardinal voting for the first time. As part of the ancient ritual, they disguise their handwriting, and on a ballot that says, "I elect as Supreme Pontiff," they then write in the name of one of their peers in that room, folding the ballot twice and walking it to an urn at the front of the chapel. 3 hours after those doors closed, the black smoke. No pope. We're coming back on the air live from Vatican City. Let's go right to the live picture right now from St. Peter's Square. You can hear the cheers erupting, the applause. That's simply because we have our first signal from the Sistine Chapel, the black smoke signaling that there is not a new pope as of yet. Witnessing history unfold, the cheers, the swell of emotion at that first sign of smoke. Tens of thousands of people came out to see that first smoke today, even though history tells us that it is extraordinarily rare that there would be a new pope elected on day 1 of the conclave. But they came anyway, with their eyes trained on that chimney, waiting for the smoke. We met sisters from across the U.S. who lead their congregations, from Ohio to Texas, from New York to Michigan, and they were moved by that first sign of smoke.
We loved Pope Francis, and we really want someone who will be a very good shepherd for our church.
You're hoping that the next pope will follow in Francis's mold.
Absolutely. Yes. His love of the poor, his embodiment of the gospel. Yes.
Their trip was planned even before the conclave, but they are grateful to have witnessed this first step. It's a lot of weight on these cardinals and on the next pope.
Yes, it is.
but I can tell you're hopeful.
Yes, we are. But very hopeful. If it was done by sisters, it wouldn't have been 3 hours.
That's right.
And we met Denise Washington, originally from New York, who wanted to be here. What do you make of the energy in the crowd, and did you think it even transcends the Catholic Church?
Absolutely,
How so?
absolutely, because I'm not Catholic, and there are a number of people who are not Catholic that were in the crowd. And with Pope Francis, a lot of people see him as someone who is relatable, and that is what so many people around the world really admire.
An extraordinary sight for the tens of thousands gathered here. And by the way, they have 2 stoves inside the Sistine Chapel, one to burn the ballots after the votes, the other they burn chemicals to produce that white or black